What is up, everybody, and welcome to the third Line Jawn Flyers pregame show. Flyers win a crucial game here against the St. Louis Blues tonight here in South Philadelphia, or in St. Louis rather, alongside Joey Marks, and I am James Scorza with you after a 2-point cushion that the Flyers could have got. I mean, we could have won it in regulation, but Joe, it's good to know that the Flyers continue to win in overtime once again.
The magician
Yes, sir.
it makes a victory and 2 points appear on the stat sheet from the jaws of defeat to the joy of victory.
Absolutely. And, before we get into our highlight reel of what the Flyers did tonight, we are on StreamPunk Entertainment and also, I believe, on Hardcore Sports Network, if I'm not
That is
mistaken.
correct. That is correct.
Okay, cool. And, hey, let's get into it. The Flyers got off to an early 1-0 lead. Owen Tippett gets his first goal in quite a while. And guess who got the assist? Mr. Wild Thing Mitchkov does it again to make it a 1-0 lead.
Yeah, hesitation pass by Mitchkov kind of was able to set it up perfectly for Owen Tippett. Kind of like played with eyes in the back of his head, which is amazing. This guy isn't just a sniper. He's a leader, and he's a guy that can understand and see all points of the ice.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was a very good goal for Owen Tippett to finally get off the schneid after not scoring for probably quite a while, going back to probably when he got the goal against Tampa Bay Lightning in a shootout, like around a few weeks back.
Yeah.
But before, I think there was no scoring in the second period. I guess the second period was all Jordan Binnington at the same time too, Joe, right?
Yeah, Binnington kind of like Rob Couturier. He almost had one towards the very end of the second period, and you got to think Couturier just feels pretty much like he never wants to see Binnington again this
Yeah.
season because Binnington literally had his cape on.
Yeah, Jordan Binnington was on fire tonight, obviously. I mean, he looks like he always plays well against Jordan Binnington. I guess the Flyers all the time. Like going back to when that time when like I mentioned on the pregame with Gloria, like the plane of Gloria, and whether that's 16th of Morning Mensing, like if anybody get the drift of what I'm saying is, but the Flyers, I would be sure that. Oh no, I'm sorry. So we go to the third period now, and it looks like the Flyers try to get back to get more opportunities, but Binnington's standing tall. But once again, St. Louis do whatever he can to. St. Louis came back and tied the game, and it was Dylan Holloway. Pardon me. We have a Hathaway. They got a Holloway. Tied the game up at one apiece around maybe I guess it was around the 5-minute mark, right, Joe?
Yeah, Hathaway, Holloway, let's call the whole thing off.
Yeah, right. And the Flyers will get a response 1 minute later after that as Tyson Foerster got – I said basically Jordan Binnington looked like Brian Boucher, Dominic Hodge got basically Jordan Binnington swimming, and Tyson Foerster gets his first goal in the last couple games, making it 2-1 good guys.
Yeah, and I'll tell you this right now. Boucher needs to work on other goaltenders that he might know.
Yeah.
Dominic Hasek is the second time I've heard that reference listening to a Flyers game in like the last couple weeks. There were other goaltenders that were good other than the Dominator. I get he was a great goaltender, but I mean, you mentioned one before, James, Ed Belfour. Listen, Binnington is a top line goaltender, and he proves it in that perspective in the second period, and then going into the third with Foerster. Foerster was denied in the second period, would not be denied in the third.
Yeah, and actually, I'll go back one step further. He kind of looked like Mandy Legacy or Curtis Joseph during the Brett Hull time.
Yeah.
That was actually pretty cool to see. Like Binnington tried to make the save, but good thing Foerster got that rebound. Later on in the third, the Flyers looked to try to get the 2 points like they always do, but once again, the Flyers give up a goal late due to an undisciplined penalty by Travis Konecny to tie the game up at 2 for St. Louis.
Here's the thing. I agree with Boucher. Sometimes, just like in any sports, when you get down to clutch time, when you get down to the last couple fleeting minutes of a game, whistles need to be kind of swallowed a little bit. Not unless it's egregious, but if it's not egregious, they need to swallow those whistles. I don't know if that was a necessary
It
penalty for the
wasn't.
refs to call.
It was like a homer call to try
Yeah.
like that's what we like to call a homer call, but didn't take long in overtime after the Blues tied the game, and like we mentioned, Mitchie Poo comes through again and he gives the Flyers the 2 points at 3-2 in OT.
The magician back at it. I'm telling you, he's got a rabbit in a lot of different cities and a lot of different hats. That man, he's going to be doing it for as long as they want him to, and it's a relief because I remember back it wasn't that long ago where I was telling you that every time the Flyers go into overtime,
Yep.
I almost felt like despair, like okay, we already lost because
Right.
we're going to either play to a stalemate in the short overtime and then lose in the shootout. But now with
Yep.
Mitchkov, he's just ready for that moment. And
Oh yeah.
look, this is just the beginning, and that's the exciting part is that this guy's only going to get more talented and
Yep.
more skilled as he plays more NHL games.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, Joe. I think that's the one thing I took out of it too. And the one thing I was really intrigued about tonight is that, like, even my dad brought it up with the comment, great win by the Flyers in overtime. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of like the Flyers have been playing very well in overtime. Like for first time in a while, I never seen a Flyers team play this good in overtimes. I mean, shootouts are good too, but the overtime, I mean, you would think, okay, the 3-on-3, they'll be like, okay, 3-on-3, we probably got the 1 point out of it, so forget about it. Let's worry about the next game. But in reality, they have looked very, very solid in overtimes this year, Joe.
And I'd say this, well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. The line with TK and Mitchkov, that's going to be a line that Tortorella needs to just emphasize
Right.
going forward for as long as he possibly can, because that and everyone may jump on my throat for this, but that could be our version of the Malkin Crosby line.
Ooh.
That's what that could potentially become here. So
Well,
I'd be
you
interested.
remember back in the day, it was like Ovechkin and Nicholas Backstrom or Alexander
Yeah,
Simmons. So
yeah,
kind of like that same kind of
yeah.
same
That
kind
that
of feel too.
that
Crosby
same
and Crosby and
dynamic.
Malkin too. Yeah.
Yeah, that same dynamic
Yeah.
is what I'm seeing out of that line.
Yep.
And as another comment, the idea that with both the Forrester goal and the Mitchkov goal, this team doesn't wait around to get buried.
No.
They like retaliate
Yeah.
when it's necessary. The Forrester goal was only a couple seconds, less than a minute after the
Like 30
Finch
seconds.
scored. Yeah, and then the Mitchkov was early in the overtime,
Mm-hmm.
and the Blues had scored late in the game, so both those goals, the Blues and the Mitchkov goal, were within quick succession. So the Flyers don't wait around for themselves to get punched in the face repeatedly. They take one hit and they counterpunch. And
Yep.
you know what? In hockey, that is what it's about. Is
Yep.
how do you counterpunch?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And even my dad brought up that Mitchkov says 3 overtime wins this season, 3 overtime winners this season for Mitchie. That's good to know about his stuff. Yeah, but I got to be honest with you, Joe. I mean, these last few games with the Flyers, I mean, you think about it. After that Vegas game, I mean, all these games that they have been in, they've been in every single game. It's like, okay, you'll probably get a clunker here and there, but they're like, frankly, like honestly, they're like the funnest team I've watched in a very, very long time.
And let's be clear. So the Flyers are coming off. This was the second game in a back to back.
Mm-hmm.
They went and handled their business against the Rangers, and the idea that they were able to do that and then come into this kind of environment against a goaltender like Binnington and stand their ground. Look, 5 games in 8 days. That's not an easy task,
It's
and the
not.
Flyers have rose to the occasion.
They're going to be sneaky good come playoff time. Um,
I wouldn't want to play them if I was an opposing team.
No, me neither. I'm getting like a little bit of a 2010 vibe with this team, like how they just snuck into playoffs on the last day and they turned on that switch for the next 2 months.
Well, I would even go one step further. If you remember the Florida Panthers from a year or two ago,
Yes.
where they just made it into the playoffs, but then snuffed out all the people like the Boston Bruins and
Oh
whatnot.
yeah.
Like the Flyers are that kind of team where I feel like they could sneak into the playoffs and really do some damage.
Yeah, no question about it. Alexei Kolosov, like Pat brought up, stopped 25 out of 27 shots tonight. That was a very good performance by Kolosov. And I got to tell you what, too. Like, then even Binnington stood tall, and even my dad says, like, let's give a little bit of props to Kolosov, too, because he played
Absolutely.
an all-time great game tonight. I can't fool
Absolutely.
him on those goals either. No, I agree. I completely 100% agree. And I think with Kolosov, I mean, him and Binnington were like back and forth all night, and like stopping 25 out of 27 shots. That's not bad. I mean, especially for a rookie goaltender,
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
pretty good.
oh yeah, that's more than pretty good. And
Yeah,
like here's the thing, that what you don't see on that stat sheet
mm-hmm.
is the idea that those 27 shots, both for Bennington and for Koloslov, the difference is that game was very frenetic.
Yeah,
After the first period, it seemed like a scuffle. In the second and third period, that got really frenetic. Both teams were taking chances and gambles and kind of leaving their goaltender to like pick it up for the defense. Listen, and those goaltenders did. And I because that could have easily been if the goaltenders weren't on the game tonight, James, that could have been a 5-6 game.
yeah, no question about it, Joe. I think that's the thing I took out of it too. And frankly, I was really impressed tonight about the two things. I was really impressed with the actual two games, rather. Ivan Fedotov, who looked fantastic yesterday, stopping New York Rangers every chance they got, and even Kolosov on Nashville against Nashville on Wednesday night in overtime too. I mean, he only gave up 2 goals, and after that, he was solid. And the
I'm
same,
telling you, we have a Russian invasion on our hands here.
yes, we do in a good way, right?
Finally, the Red Army has seen the error in their ways. It only took 40 years, 40 or 50 years, but the Red Army has finally seen that we're not fighting them anymore. We're going to come over and join them. If you can't beat them, join them.
Right, exactly. But before we go any further, we'll check out the before we say our goodbyes tonight. I think there was another game. I think there was another thing that I took out of this game tonight too. Is maybe it's just me. Maybe like when Sam Ersson comes back. I mean, like that's gonna be the big question. Like who's gonna
Yeah.
be going down to the minors? I mean, Kolosov's playing well. Fedotov's playing well. So like, do you like send Sam Ersson down to the minors, or do you like I mean, you can keep emergency goaltender whenever you need it. That's what happened with the Flyers in 2010 when they had like Brian Boucher and Michael Leighton, and had
Yeah.
somebody like I don't even know, like going back to 2010. I mean, I don't even know who the emergency goaltender was, but they had somebody in the works too.
Um,
Was it
I
like Johan Backlund? I'm
no, it's a guy because that was the one of the years that my wife still watched the Flyers, but
right.
she's not allowed to watch the Flyers anymore because she curses and we have a 4-year-old.
Okay.
So there's some expletives that she uses towards the goaltenders that's not appropriate
Oh
for
yeah,
younger audience.
I remember this story.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
Mhm.
I do remember this story.
So but anyhow, the one thing I would say is it's like a minor league pitcher or a minor league hitter, I should say,
Yeah.
in baseball. You want to give them reps. So if you're sending them back down to the minors, that's fine because you're just keeping them hot. You're
Hmm.
just giving them reps. You ride the hot hands for Koloslov and you just ride the hot hands in net right now. And the minute that cools down, you have a third guy you can rotate in
Hmm.
because they're all young. They're all just trying to figure this out too.
Yep.
So you ride the hot hand, and that's a real good problem to have.
It really is, Joe. I think I completely 100% agree. Um,
Nitamaki.
Nenamaki, that's right. I forgot about that. I was thinking like I forget. I mean, I can go back a ways because I'm the hockey encyclopedia. If anybody doesn't know,
Well,
Eddie,
my
was that
wife went. Me and my wife went to the Flyers Wives Fight for Lives Carnival. My wife got a picture with them 2
Oh,
weeks later, she's cursing him out in the stands. I'm like, I thought you liked them. You took a picture with them. Now you're
right.
cursing him out like that. That's not cool.
Yeah, right. Speaking of which, before we go any further, the Flyers can't. Yeah, I agree with that. Like the Flyers, you can't really have too many good goaltenders. I mean, there's no such thing as too many
Nope.
goaltenders, especially in this day and age with the Flyers too. Joe, so Owen Tippett tonight, finally getting off the schneid for the first time in a while. Has to feel good for him tonight to try to get back that fire that he had going back to last year, right?
Yo, absolutely. And I mean, Owen Tippett is got to be a main cog going forward.
Mhm.
With him and Coots and
Well,
Michkov and TK, like they have to be the front runners.
Well, I'll tell you this much: you'll be happy to hear about this because the guy that Owen Tippett got traded for is Claude Giroux. So Claude Giroux got traded for Owen Tippett. So thanks, G.
I can like that. I can dig that.
Yeah,
One
I
thing that
can.
we haven't mentioned about this game that we're gonna I'm sure at the StreamPunk Entertainment and at Hardcore Sports Network are gonna keep an eye on. Joel Farabee left the game.
Mm,
I think in mid second period.
right.
He kind of hit the ice with his face met the ice pretty hard
Oh,
on a tripping with a collision with him and a Blues defender. So
yeah.
we'll see.
We'll keep you posted with that. That's
Yeah.
for sure.
But yeah, I mean, listen, Owen Tippett, getting back to that, and Forrester, these guys, if they can start to come around, this team has the potential of having three strong lines, and and I'm going to go one step further. You brought up 2010. I'll go a step further, probably before you were even born. In the mid 90s, when Lindros, Leclerc, and the Legion of Doom were around. You
Right.
had all three good lines there, and then the fourth line was basically beat you to the bloody pulp.
Yep.
And
I remember
that
that now. I remember that very well.
so like this team, not now, not yet, but
Right.
it potentially could get there. And
Yeah.
that looks like it could be an exciting situation for all Flyers fans going forward.
Yeah, and Pat brought up what Tyson Forster getting his fifth goal this season. That's actually good to see too,
Yeah.
because like coming up like with like the stretch coming up between like obviously I mentioned it tonight. You got Florida coming in on Thursday night, so it's a quick road quick I guess you can say a little bit of a
It's a mini buy.
mini buy, yeah, you know,
Yeah, mini buy for the Flyers, which is
yeah.
much deserved after this little streak of 5 games in 8 days.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and that's the thing too. And my dad brings up again. I'm pretty sure Farabee did come back in that third period. But if we'll probably get a report from John Tortorella
Yeah.
either in the next days or so, because if like hopefully he won't miss a couple games here. You don't want to expect any injuries,
Right.
especially after wins. But
I mean,
we'll keep you updated with that.
yeah, I mean, his face hit the ice.
Hmm.
If he came back in the third, it was probably because he felt like he could still play, but
Yeah.
he'll still get evaluated at the end of the game, and if he's cleared to go, and like I said with that mini buy, he should be good to go.
Oh yeah, I mean, get him away for a couple games, just
Yeah.
like that, and just like get him some rest and all that. I mean, this is actually a very good win for them tonight too. Before we go, we're gonna check you. We're gonna do a quick around the National Hockey League like we always do. Before we go any further, the Flyers' record seventh spot is 27 points, 12, 10, and 3 right now. So they keep on climbing, Joe. They keep on climbing.
Absolutely. I mean, listen, we said this before and we'll continue to say it again. This team is becoming sneaky good. And
Yes.
as long as teams want to just sleep on us, we're just going to keep taking points.
Yep. Just within what we were at, they pull us back in, right?
Yeah.
But actually, but in a good way. But it's not bad as the other team that won tonight too. So let's not get crazy.
And by the way, this was a coach on the St. Louis Blues that came from the Boston Bruins,
Right.
and he was the same coach with the Bruins that led them to like one of the best records in NHL history. Yes, they
Good point.
got knocked out in the playoffs, but he's still a really talented coach. And like there's something to be said there. Especially with that talent in St. Louis. He's going to do a lot of damage. So St. Louis isn't going to be a bottom feeder. This was,
Mhm.
like James said, this was a really quality win.
It was. It sure was. All right, let's check out our quick around the National Hockey League as we always check out on the post game here. Matinee action later on today. Somebody checks in. Oh, Cowboy Dave. How you like that? Hello, Joey says, Cowboy Dave, nice overtime win by the Fly Guys. See you, fellas. Hope all is well. You as well, buddy. And
Happy holidays, Dave.
Happy holidays and beat down F Dallas. No, I'm just kidding, Dave. Hope all is well with you too, brother.
Look, he's heard enough. Like let him alone. He's heard enough. Jerry's heard him enough. Let him alone.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Anyways, before we go, we'll check a double. We'll do a quick around the National Hockey League on this very important Saturday, if you know what I mean. Rangers winning today 4-3 over Montreal. Panthers coming in on Thursday. They win 6-0 over Carolina. That's gonna be a good tall test to see.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna be a good matchup on Thursday. I can't wait for that. Capitals over the Devils 6-5. That was actually, I guess, a close game. I guess Ovechkin. Oh no, that's sorry. Ovechkin's not playing. What am I talking about? Like I said, the Flyers win tonight 3-2. Toronto winning over Tampa Bay 5-3. Calgary taking on Pittsburgh 6-2. Pens over Calgary. The Kings winning again over Ottawa. That's a 5-2 game. That was 5-2.
Suck it, Drew. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Sabres and Islanders, and I think the Islanders finally got themselves a win. I don't know what's going on with the Islanders. I know there's a lot of there's a crapshoot what's going on with them. Nashville and Minnesota are tied at 1, and a few 10 o'clock games tonight. San Jose at Seattle, Colorado against Edmonton, and Utah taking on Vegas. And before we go, we will just do a quick around the National one last time.
I look forward to seeing that Colorado Edmonton game. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, man. And tomorrow we got 12:30 on matinee. Red Wings taking on the Canucks. Canadians taking on the Bruins. Blue Jackets taking on Chicago. Jets taking on the Stars. And Senators taking on the Sens. So, before we go, Joe, I just want to say thank you to everybody who tuned in tonight. We really do appreciate it. We'll be back again on Thursday night. I'll be back for the pregame show for the Hockey Night on Board Flyers pregame show. You're entitled to come on if you want, Joe. Pat as well, and everybody else included. Like I said, Flyers win tonight 3-2 over the St. Louis Blues. So that does it for us here. Now, for everyone behind the scenes and for everyone that made it all work here, for Joe Marks and for Pat Bernard behind the glass, this is James Scorza here saying so long. Until then, let's go Flyers. And till then, we'll see you next time.
Let's go Orange Black.